So, I want to talk a little bit about the art of arts journalism. For me, the idea of arts journalism is really a chance to have a creative response to creativity, a creative response to works of art. Arts journalism is a lens. It's a way of looking at things that happen in the world and trying to make sense of it, setting a frame for what's going to happen. And right now we're in the middle of some really profound cultural changes. You know, the mass culture that we've grown up with in the last 50 years is dissolving into thousands of little pieces. It's actually quite interesting, but the things which used to gather a huge audience are now finding that that audience is slipping away and evanescing into all sorts of little pieces. So what does that mean for how you cover the arts? What it means is that you can't be naive and do it in exactly the same way. And thus the crisis in which we come. But I don't want to dwell, we don't want to dwell in this, on all of the problems. A lot of arts journalists are losing their jobs right now. But what we would like today to do is to look forward. And enough with the lamentations. So the premise of this summit is to gather up ideas, raise questions, and provoke discussion. So when we started, we wanted to spread as wide a net as possible. But the thing is that arts journalism, you can't characterize it in one way, just as you can't characterize culture in one way. It's in many, many pieces. And so we decided to spread the net as wide as possible, and we asked people to submit projects and take a look. We thought we'd get 30 or 40 projects. Instead, we got 109. And it was really, really difficult to choose them because we're not here to choose a best project. We're here to choose a series of ideas that illuminate some issue or another about arts journalism. So how do we choose? How do we choose those projects? Up behind me, you'll see that there are a number of sites that were submitted for this. And when we did this rehearsal yesterday, I got so excited about a lot of them that I went way, way, way over time. So I'm going to talk really fast right now and just pull up a few of the projects that we see. This is Classical Voice of North Carolina, and this is run by a guy by the name of John Lambert. And every year he goes out and raises $60,000 so that he can pay 40 or 50 journalists to go around North Carolina and write about things because he feels that it's important. He's the only arts journalism in some places. Theater Jones, when they submitted to our forum, all of a sudden a discussion flame war broke out, people debating it. Now, isn't that what arts journalism is supposed to do, is to provoke people to have comments? 3 Minute Egg, Matt Piken, Twin Cities. This is a guy who was a traditional journalist, and he started making these 3-minute videos. Each week he makes one of them, one-man band, an amazing number of them. King FM, a traditional radio station, one person in there created an arts channel. It's full, wall-to-wall, of things that are happening in the arts, interviews, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Bad at Sports has this kind of gonzo way of doing interviews, and they have a lot of attitude. It's really fun. John Clare, he does these interviews with composers in such depth and with such care that you really understand about music in a different way. Art and Seek is from KERA in Dallas, and again, another embedded project that covers the arts. They break stories. Adobe Airstream. This is Leon Goebbels and a group of colleagues decided that the Rocky Mountain Northwest were not covered well, and so they started their own site, and they review lots of things. Arts organizations finding their reviews missing from the local papers are now banding together and hiring critics to do them. Kansas City Metropolis is that one. Violinist.com. The readers of Violinist.com, they raised money so that they could send a violin to a soldier in Iraq. That's the kind of power that a community has, motivated by arts journalism. Sequenza 21. What's more obscure than really esoteric classical music. Oh, God. People are going to kill me for that. No, it's wonderful music, but there's a community that's formed all around this in a way that never was possible before. New Music Box has become its own kind of streaming multimedia giant of contemporary music. Nat Creole, it covers global culture in all sorts of interesting ways that you wouldn't expect. And Triple Canopy, now this is beautifully, beautifully designed, a digital magazine. Now, how are you going to leave any of these projects out? We didn't choose any of these for this. Not because they weren't completely excellent, but because we needed to have representation of different ideas. We wanted to explore different currents, different eddies in what's happening in arts journalism right now. So what you're going to see today are a number of projects that frame the issues. What do we want to come away from today with? I don't know. I think that what we really want to do is just to open up some of these issues. A lot of you are working out there on some amazing things and doing some amazing projects. And it's time that we started talking to each other about the issues that really matter to us, because culture is really an important thing. So the way that this goes is we chose 5 demonstration projects. They had different names, but in the end we decided to call them showcase projects. And these are not even specifically about arts journalism. Some of them aren't technically journalism, but they're ideas worth exploring. And so one of them is a tool, and one of them is a small town newspaper, and one of them, you'll see. But they're really, they capture some of the main issues we feel that are facing arts journalism. After the break, you're going to see 5 other projects. These were the projects that we chose out of those 109. And they are technically competing, but they are real live examples of real live arts journalism that are taking place all over, and which we feel deserves better notice. So, the first one. Sophie. Sophie is a multimedia publishing tool. The art of arts journalism is changing. And who says that the perfect critical response to a work of art is an 800-word review? Why simply describe when you can show? And why show when you can actually explain? And then why limit your explanation to words or images or video or sound when you can integrate them all? Sophie does all of these things. Translating a dance movement or a musical texture into words is kind of a compromise. It's an artful compromise at times, to be sure. But tools like Sophie, which have been developed by the Institute for Multimedia Literacy, are attempting to expand the arts journalist toolbox. IML professor and journalist Holly Willis explains the thinking behind Sophie and version 2.0, which actually is going to debut on October 15th.